winter, isn't it? And my goodness, it's cold.
It
And,
is.
well, we had 15 inches, 15 inches, 15.10 inches of snow in Salem.
Hold on one sec. Didn't put this on mute. Hold on.
That's almost like
15 inches of
snow.
snow in Salem?
Yeah,
You got more than me.
I know. We got a lot.
Yeah.
We got more than Boston.
Really?
Yeah, and you know, it's beautiful though. I love it.
Mhm.
I just love it. And of course, New Englanders complain about everything. They complain about the heat, the spring, the fall, and winter. They always complain.
Mm-hmm.
And we're so lucky to have it this year because for 2 years we haven't had snow.
Mm-hmm.
We had a major drought in the whole state.
Yes.
That's so dangerous. That's what causes forest fires and all kinds of things, and no products, no vegetables. You know, I mean, so we're lucky, even though it started really early. So, but it's Yule, it's winter. We're celebrating winter.
Mm-hmm.
The day after Samhain, the witch's ball, we put up our tree because in Celtic times there was only summer and winter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the day that winter starts. So we always put our tree up because, you know, the tree didn't come from Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
The tree is part of the Celts and the other cultures. Whether you bring, during the winter, you bring the flora, the greenery that lasts through the winter into the house to bring the sun in.
Mm-hmm.
And to bring the sun back to earth so that we don't lose the sun. That was the whole bit, and that's why we have this little sprig right here of, I think that's a Douglas fir, isn't it?
It probably is,
Yeah,
yes.
it smells so good. And isn't it wonderful though that we can enjoy the winter,
Mm-hmm.
no matter how cold it gets. You know, I know some people just have to move south. You know, some people can't take it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a winter person?
I like the fall, but yes, I can handle the winter.
Yeah, I like the fall.
I'm one of those crazy people who thinks that she can smell when it's going to snow. You know how you get, there's that smell in the air when it's going to snow?
Oh yeah, I can tell.
I said that on Wednesday. I was saying it's going to snow. I can smell it.
I know, and I kept asking the universe to make it snow. And I guess I got my wish, didn't
I
I?
guess so. Well, we didn't introduce ourselves, but you know,
Oh,
let's start off. I'm Heather.
hi, I'm Laurie Cabot, and this is Heather. We are here talking about Yule, the celebration of the witches' celebration of winter,
Yeah.
and the Wheel of the Year.
Yeah.
I have here my book called Celebrate the Earth, and it's about the Wheel of the Year. And it's about to go audio. In fact, they're probably recording as we're talking now.
Oh,
I just signed a contract for that, which is wonderful.
Yes.
Because in here, there's a lot of Celtic mythology in here as well. And the story for Yule in here is, there's several different stories, but one for Yule is Welsh. It's Bran and Branwen. Bran and his sister, Branwen. And it's about balance, and balance of the earth, the sun, the moon, and their behavior is what shows how to create that balance between war and peace.
Mhm.
And all the Celtic mythologies are so hard to read. Sometimes you
Mhm.
wonder, why did they use their magic like that? Why you know, we've come a long way with magic, you know. I think we used it much better than our ancestors did. They didn't understand the science. They didn't understand the balance in a sense of always being able to not do harm.
Mhm.
We don't have to.
Mhm.
I mean, we could, we don't have to. That's the beautiful part of it. We have protection shields, we can neutralize anything harmful,
Mhm.
we can heal ourselves,
Mhm.
which is it's pretty good. I'm pretty good at it,
At healing yourself?
pretty much so. you know, you gotta have help.
Yeah.
But I think I've been pretty good at it.
You have something, let's just go off topic for just 1 second when you're talking about healing yourself. You have bottles of water in your room, and they say something on them.
It says healing.
And what do you talk about them?
Oh, okay. Every time I drink water day and night, and so I take all the labels off the plastic bottles, and I take a magic marker and I first unscrew the lid and I hold it. I go into a meditation. I vision the water and I speak to the water and ask the water to heal me, to become healing water and pure, and you know, etc. And then I put the lid on and I write the word heal 3 times on all the bottles. It's because of Dr. Emoto and his experiment on how you can program water to actually change and do different things with water. And one of it was healing.
Interesting. And does it matter if you write it clockwise, counterclockwise, up or down?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think any which way is fine. You know, it's more the speaking to the water and the mental projection into the water, because he had a group of monks, excuse me, meditate on this particular area of water that was very, very bad water. I'm sorry. And they cleared the water. It became pure.
Really?
With meditation.
So that was completely and totally off topic, but I thought that would be an interesting story because everybody is interested when they see her bottles of water that say heal on them. And I just want you to know, I just saw my sister is on. My sister's watching.
What?
My sister's watching.
Oh, that's wonderful. Hi. Hi, sister.
Her name's
Nice to see
Colleen.
you again. Good
Oh.
evening.
Okay, so we wanted to talk about Yule, and we wanted to talk about some of the ancient traditions of Yule, some of the traditions that we have now that are a little bit different, and we would love to have a little chat about how you celebrate Yule.
Well, it's pretty common the way we do it. We always use some magic, of course, especially candle magic, because we all do that. And it's turning the wheel again. It's taking a look back at what we've done since the last turning of the wheel at Samhain. You know, what have we done and what are we about to do? So when the solstice comes, which is the shortest day of the year and the longest night of the year, that's when we're turning the wheel again. And I want to make sure that I'm meditating and projecting things that are beneficial for the whole world as much as you can. We can all affect the world with our thoughts and our projections, each person. Some people are more powerful than others. We never know. You never know how powerful you are until you try it. And you may not even see the results, but you may have helped change the entire world. So on that day, it's usually around the
21st.
21st, 22nd.
Yeah, in
there.
December, yeah.
Yeah, and all you have to do is meditate for a little while. You don't have to sit for hours. You know, for 5 minutes, sit there and close your eyes and project all the things you want to come in the future. You know, for everybody, especially the healing, of course. That's coming about now. We've got the vaccine now. But I think it's been a comeuppance to us. But it's also been a good thing for people to be indoors at home together. Because especially in the winter, you're indoors anyway. And now you're learning how to cope. You're realizing you're the one responsible for your food, your shelter, your well-being, your finances. Only you. No one else is there to help.
Yeah.
And that is very earth-shaking to most people. And it's very sad for some people who cannot do that. And that's when the people who are our heroes come out and do the good things for people.
Yeah, the kids are having a hard time
Oh,
right now.
I know, they shouldn't be in school. They should be home on a computer. Well, it's being proved now in Massachusetts. The rise in COVID in children has been earth-shaking this past week. Again, I know. Anyway, we celebrate. First of all, I said we put the tree out the next day after the witch's ball and decorate and put in the red and the green and the gold and the candles and my red cardinals.
Why do you like the red cardinals? What does that represent to
One
you?
of my best friends, Alice Gauthier, loved them. And she lived down at the Willows in Salem. And for some reason, cardinals go to one area. I don't understand the whole concept, but it's about a wind flow of some kind. And she had feeders in her yard, and there were always these beautiful mother and father cardinals out there. The big red ones are all the daddies. And they were always in her yard, and she loved them, and she collected them, little China ones, all kinds of them. So, I've always had them on my trees since then to honor her life. She's still around. And her daughter, Pamela, is in Colorado now. Pam, I know Pam's watching right now.
Oh.
Yeah. And I wonder if Pam has cardinals in her yard in Colorado.
I don't know, Pam, if you're watching, send us a comment. I actually can see comments tonight, guys. I know that's hard to believe. Hopefully you can hear us well with the microphone. We did our magic with the microphone.
God, I hope so, yeah.
Talk to us about pine cones.
Oh, that's another, it's a symbol of growth and stability. Because it lasts and it replenishes the tree and the flora. But it's something that lasts almost forever. And that shows the balance of things in life. There are things who can live forever, and that's one of them. So it's a good symbol to have.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course, any greenery, the red berries represent the sun.
Oh, they do. Okay.
And, it's the god Lu is the sun. And Lu turned into the word London.
Oh.
That's a god's name, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So Lu is very, very important at this time of year. We're bringing back the sun. And in one of the ritual in to celebrate the earth at Yule there's a chant that I wrote. It's Father, Son, Mother, Moon, and I are one. And there's a whole system of chant that goes on. So when people hear it, they can learn that chant, and it brings both balance of the moon and the sun for this time of year. So you can't forget the moon, even though the sun is most important right now.
So I'm going to pull in something that we talked about last week, right? So last week we said that the new moon technically was on Tuesday, and that today was the third day, which would have been today, right? Is the strongest day to do magic.
Absolutely.
So since we're talking about Yule and we're talking about magic, what kind of magic would you do today?
Well, I actually did some this morning, and it's projecting for all the gifts that are needed for the world. The gift of balance, clean air, clean water. I tried to do a universal type spell because this new moon is very strong. Some are not as strong as others, but the tide is very high, you can tell by that.
Yeah.
And a lot of the streets on the coast here are flooding.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to do something outside of ourselves that includes us, of course, but the whole world. So anybody out there that wants to project for all the things we need right now is the, for the earth, for Mother Earth, and the balance of all those things. It's a good day to meditate on it. Casting a spell is really a prayer. So anyone can do this, and project it out into the universal light. Let it go and let the universe take over. And maybe the universe will make that happen. You know that we're into the age of Aquarius.
Let's talk about that.
We're almost. It's just beginning now. So, it's such a great promise that once the age of Aquarius is here, people will be more emotionally balanced. They'll be better with one another. They'll be better in unison around the globe, which sounds wonderful. And, and the way you look at things today, you think, how could that possibly be?
Well,
But it's been told for centuries that that's what is about to happen. But we're on the edge of that, and there are people who are not aware of that. And it's like the magic circle. When you make a magic circle, inside the circle, everything is pure, everything is safe and beautiful. But because the edge of the circle draws in things that are harmful, we don't know what, but that's why you don't break the circle when you're doing magic, because it'll let all that come floating in.
Right.
And once you release the circle, it dissipates all that, So it's sort of like that. We're starting to see all the people who are like helping to clean the water. Those boys that have forocean.com, they're cleaning up all the trash out of the ocean. Those are the people who are sort of bringing on the Aquarian age. They're part of the beginning of that. And a lot of teachers, people who are helping people to help themselves. And that's what's so important, that you use your own magic, because everybody has it. And you use it for yourself first so that you're complete, then you can help someone else.
Right.
And that's what is important about this transition. And I probably won't be able to live long enough to see it, but I
Well,
definitely...
are we going to neutralize that?
Well, no, I kind of don't want to live to be 300, okay? I'm broaching 100, it's enough already.
Okay, sorry.
What good would I be at 300 years
Well,
old?
you never know. They might have replacement parts by
I'm a
then.
brat now, can you imagine what it would be like?
No.
Nobody would want to deal with me. Trust me. So now talk about how you and your family celebrate. I mean, we have the tree, we give presents. I can't wait to buy presents for people when I have money, because it's so fulfilling for some reason. It's so joyful. It makes you feel so good to be able to give something to your friends that you think they're going to love. Don't you like that feeling? I mean, it's as much as getting gifts to me. It's just as much of a feeling,
So let's compare it a little bit, okay? So Yule, the whole season of Yule starts right after Samhain, which is October 31st.
Yes.
Right. So for a lot of people, other than the United States, who are crazy about Thanksgiving, right? Like I have friends in the UK and in Paris, and they actually start putting up their trees and doing their things, even if it's not Yule, even if they celebrate Christmas, literally right after Halloween.
I know, half the world does that.
I know. It's really
I think it's a natural flow,
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a big debate about live tree, fake tree. And I've gone back and forth over the years about it. And right now I'm on ecologically friendly fake tree, so that we're not cutting down a tree that needs to be there.
And see, that's another balance, because ecologically, these plastic trees can cause damage as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know why New York City cuts down a tree that's the size of Mount
I don't know where
Vesuvius.
they get it.
Well, wherever it is, it's a shame because that tree is probably 300 years
Yeah,
old
yeah.
and gorgeous and cleaning the air. It's
Yeah.
done its job, and they cut it down. Why don't they have a fake tree for Manhattan? But come on, guys. You know, cutting down trees like that is really bad.
Yeah.
We need every tree. We need to reforest a lot of the land around the globe where we made, you know, farms and things that are not functioning anymore, actually. Like in Scotland, all the mountains in Scotland are kind of bare. There's hardly a tree or anything. That's because they deforest and they haven't reforested. I don't know why, because if they did, it would change a lot of the world's air.
Yeah.
You know, because it takes about 6 or 7 trees for each human being to have clean air and breathe. So yeah, I think we should use the plastic trees.
Yes. It's a hard
And I
careful
think they
balance.
can make some plastics that are biodegradable
Yes.
now.
Yes.
That's the good part.
That's the
Before I was like you debating about which was worse. But no, they shouldn't be cutting down trees. I know they grow them just for this season, but I think they should let them grow. We need the air. And half of the rainforest was burned down for agricultural reasons recently.
I think we're getting a little depressing here. I think you're making me feeling a little depressing here. So
I know, we can't do this.
let's not go down the path of like the
Sorry,
earth is
I'm
falling
sorry,
apart.
Because it is a good time of year for me. I know it is for most people.
One of the things I think that's really interesting is I read Celebrate the Earth. When did you write this? Do you remember?
In the late 70s, early 80s.
Early 80s? Okay. If you read this book or have read this book, you're going to find it really interesting because a lot of the stuff you talk about the earth is incredibly relevant right now. It's a lot of the stuff that we're hearing right now, which I think is really interesting, especially in your introduction. You talk about a lot of stuff that is very relevant right now. There's also some other good stuff in there too, but I'm going to bring us back to Yule again. So celebrating Christmas, for me, I don't think anybody cares what my Christmas is like. We're more interested in your Yule.
Well, it's similar.
It is.
I think
it is
Christmas
similar.
and Yule, it's so much the same.
Okay, so there are traditional foods that people like to eat around this time of year. Tell us some of your favorites. What do you and Penny celebrate with?
Well, you know, we usually don't do a turkey. We usually just do a chicken. And because I'm not vegan, and so I have I make a special stuffing and all that my mother made and that kind of thing. And we like all the vegetables. We like the squash, like butternut squash, and all that kind of thing is so important to us. And it's probably a balance again of the earth and the sun, that kind of thing. But I don't know, I think we do almost just everything that other people do.
Well, okay,
We
so
use some
what
of the
about gingerbread?
Well, ginger is so important because it's like an herb as well, you know. So ginger, yeah, Penny, you just had some of her.
I did. I walked in here and I was like, you got to feed me.
I know, but aren't they great?
Yes.
I know, she's so good at the cookies. And the cookies are a big deal for witches, just like, for every other group. And so we always have those. And we use all the, like the cinnamon and the cloves, of course. And that goes into the cookies and the breads. And cranberries, because that's a berry that brings back the sun, And sometimes, you get those boxed cakes or breads.
Yeah.
And sometimes they have raisins in them, but you can add things into it, like dried cranberries into it. It makes it more winter and more Yule type. And nuts and things that you would store and use in the winter. You know, those are the kind of things you ingest too,
Mm-hmm.
just like a squirrel.
Just like a squirrel. Okay, so let's talk about some of the other traditional stuff that we see, in mainstream world, and let's see if it has any impact on you, right? On what you celebrate for Yule. Eggnog.
I don't even know where it came from, but yeah, we definitely like it.
Do you like it spiked or you like it without the?
No, I don't like that part. I don't like the alcohol. But I do, we use, again, the spices. We've got the cinnamon, and that makes, Jupiter. It brings success and brings the sun. The egg is the new beginning of the sun, the center of the egg. So it makes sense. I just don't know who started that. I don't think it was our ancestor, our Celts. I doubt it.
Probably not.
No.
And who makes the eggnog? Is it you or Penny?
Oh, Penny. Yeah. Penny does it all now. I used to do it all. And now, those roles reverse. When you get older, your daughters or your children become your parents. Like it or not. I'm lucky.
Oh.
Well, no, I'm lucky because she's so wonderful and
Yes.
she can do everything.
I know, she really can.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about some other things that are very traditional in mainstream. Holly.
Again, that's the red berries and the green. It's bringing the flora and the sun back into your home. You're supposed to bring it into the house.
So in a Yule celebration, you might have holly as well.
Absolutely. And the wreath is like a magic circle. It wasn't, I hate to say this again, but it wasn't Christian. It was universal at one point because the Celts did that and the Vikings and the tree, the way that got brought into Christmas was Queen Victoria's husband, because he was a prince of Germany.
Oh, okay.
And in Germany, they maintained the tree in the house from ancient times. They never stopped using it, and no one else in the world did.
Did they pot it? How did they do that?
They cut them down and brought them in the house and decorated them.
I know, but they would die after a while.
Yeah. Well, they don't leave them in the house.
Oh, I meant they left them in the house.
It's for the winter.
Okay, got it.
Again,
They're
it's a
used it for the
Yule.
winter.
It was a Yule thing that all the Celts did. But somehow in Germany, it was one of those traditions that just came from ancient times, but nowhere else. But Prince Edward, is that his name? Yeah.
You're looking at the wrong person.
Yeah, and I think that he brought it into the palace, in Buckingham Palace, and they decorated it, and from that time on, it was a Christmas tree.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Christianity took it over, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
But it is one of our heritages, it's a witch heritage as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have solstice coming up on the 21st. By the way, I was at Stonehenge in 2012 on winter solstice, just as an aside.
Yeah, I watched it last year.
Did you watch it? The live
On
streaming?
my phone. It took hours and hours because they were started too early.
Yes, they did.
Oh my God, and everybody's standing there on one foot and then the other, and I'm laying in bed going, hurry up.
It's true.
Wasn't it? It was so painstaking.
Yeah.
It was so wonderful when the first ray of sun hit,
Everyone was like, done.
Oh, thank goodness. I probably everybody listening did this.
I'm sure.
Trying to watch
I
Stonehenge.
just put it up. I just put it on a shelf, and I was just kind of looking at it every once in a while.
The last time we went to Stonehenge, we did a magic circle in the Stonehenge. It was full moon in Scorpio.
Oh.
And it was so interesting because just as the sun was setting, the moon was already up. And you could stand in the middle of Stonehenge and go like this with your hand. They're holding the moon. You could go like that and you're holding the sun in your hands. It was so beautiful. Ah,
Unbelievable.
I know. I loved it. I loved it. And the energy there is different.
Very different.
I didn't think, I didn't know what I expected. You know, you hear so much about the energy, the magic, whatever. And I didn't have any real understanding of what might happen. But I did feel the energy.
Mhm.
It was very unusual,
Mhm.
you know.
I felt very pulled to the ground when I was there.
Oh,
Which is-
absolutely. Very grounded, like the center of the world.
Yes.
Felt like a crown on the top of the world. Yeah.
Okay, so let's keep talking about your Yule. So when are you, and okay, so we talked about gifts, right? In the Christian tradition, we exchange, well, actually in a lot of traditions, gifts are exchanged on the 25th of December, and we know that that date isn't necessarily,
The right date.
well, it's not the date that you guys use, right? And it was, we could go into a whole debate about how that date came up,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but let's not do that.
No. But we wait, you know, sometimes we'll do it on the solstice
Uh-huh.
and exchange our gifts then.
Yeah.
Sometimes we wait for the 25th because there's nothing else to do.
Or a Chinese restaurant, that's it.
Well, that could be, but no, we're usually at home and we, you know, we'll exchange, but we kind of do it all month long.
So you exchange all month
Yeah,
long.
I already gave Penny her Walt Disney T-shirt. It says, "It's fun to be bad," and it's got all the evil queens and things on it.
I don't think that we're gonna get Penny to come out with that T-shirt on
Yeah, she's
tonight.
not gonna show you. No.
It's really interesting because I'm trying to look at the comments here, but guys, I'm getting people watching you, but I'm not getting comments. So I'm wondering if somehow I
Can
turned.
they hear us?
No, I don't know. Can you hear us? I don't know. I'm wondering if I turned it off so that they can't comment.
Oh, that could be.
I don't know.
We're not the technicians.
No,
Yeah.
honestly, like the real techie guys there.
And Faith in Cornwall,
Mhm.
she's watching.
Mm-hmm.
Faith just sent me something wonderful. It's coming through Canada.
Okay.
It's a cup and saucer with the Queen on it from her Jubilee. I collect those.
I know you do.
I have right up here behind us.
Yep.
I have a whole row at the top up there. Those are all the Queen.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I don't have the new people.
You don't have
Kate. I don't have
Catherine
Kate.
and Prince William.
No, I don't have them, and I don't have, of course, Markle.
Meghan Markle.
I don't know if
and
they made a cut for her.
I don't know Princess Harry. I don't know. They weren't very nice to her.
Maybe not. I don't know.
The
But
press was a little
I've been
difficult.
collecting those for over 50 years, so I
Mhm.
have some really nice ones up there.
Mm-hmm.
But she sent me a new one. I can't wait for it to get here. Thank
Mhm.
you, Faith. It's really sweet. She's amazing.
So let's talk about Candlemas. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, again, it's bringing in the sun.
Mm-hmm.
It's when it's sort of like when nature starts to blossom actually in some parts of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Some plants start to rise, the cattle start to have babies,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of thing. So it shows that the earth is accepting the sun,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And it's a time, you know, to contemplate, meditate, do good things for the earth,
Mhm.
basically, and do some magic, and light a lot of candles.
Light a lot of candles.
Yeah, and I love beeswax. It's sort of hard to get beeswax
Mhm.
candles because they burn the cleanest
Mhm.
and the best,
Mm.
and they send out the energy because the flame is so pristine. Then all the magic that's in that light
Mm-hmm.
goes very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Paraffin, that's what most candles are made out of, is fine, but it's really not quite the same.
Yeah. I like soy.
Hmm?
I like soy candles.
I really like the beeswax better.
The beeswax
Yeah.
better. Okay, so I'm gonna see if we can walk down memory lane a little bit, because we wanted to, part of what we said we were gonna do is share a little bit of Laurie's experience with Yule. So, can you think of let's see, the the funniest Yule that you had, because something hysterical happened.
Oh, I can't think of that now.
Am I?
You're talking to an 88-year-old woman who has no memory whatsoever.
Of course you do. Okay, well tell me about anything that you can think of. One that you especially remember.
Well, way back when I was about 7 years old, under the tree, my mother had made a whole set of clothing for one of my dolls by hand. She made dresses, blouses, skirts, hand crocheted bonnets, and under the tree was this whole array, and then the doll, but it was like one thing. It was just so wonderful. And then one time on our back porch, when I was about 4, my dad put like sort of like a wooden trough and put hay in it and everything for the reindeer.
Yep.
And so when the Christmas morning was, he'd go out there and he'd scatter the hay, and then he'd put like footsteps with mud, like it was reindeer, and then boots, like Santa's footsteps going. And I just, I firmly believed that was real, for a long time. And it created such a wonderful feeling for me as a child. It was lovely that they embellished all that magic and let me accept it, which is important because it helps you develop your psyche, and it gives you imagery in your mind that can project things into the world that are good. And it's a way of honing that into a child and helping them become more psychic and use it in a proper way. So yeah, my mother did a beautiful job, and that was so much fun. Yeah, that's one of my memories.
What about with you and your girls? What did you like to do? Did you do anything crazy for them?
Oh yeah, everything I could think of. As long as when I had, enough money to do it.
Yeah.
Of course, I would try to get, something that they really, really wanted. And that wasn't always, when you're a single mother raising children, it's as everybody out there knows, it's not that easy. So I learned how to make a few things along the way, and it was fun. They enjoyed it. They really did. We had a good time. It's very similar to what we're talking about.
Yeah. Okay, so talk to me about the Yule log.
Oh, that's interesting, because the Yule log is, you're supposed to have two. You're supposed to have one that you use on your altar, and it's from the year before. And it's to project, and you project to it to bring back the sun, and the flame is the sun's light. And you're supposed to put it in your fireplace or go somewhere and burn that log. But then you have another log in the magic circle, and you're projecting that for the next year. So the next year when you do your Yule celebration, that's the log that you're going to project to bring back the sun, and that one gets burned. And then you bring another one in. So that's what we usually do.
It's one after the other.
Yeah, and we will do that, definitely.
Yeah.
So it's just such a tradition, like a bonfire too. They used to do that, burn the Yule logs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some people just make them for a candle holder.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not. They drill holes in it.
Yeah.
And pretty nice. It's very pretty. So, I think that everyone has their own little traditions. And I think they're usually very appropriate. Like some people, the whole family dresses in the same pajamas.
Yep.
Well, that's unity, isn't it? And they usually have, oh, have you ever had an ugly sweater?
Yes.
You have?
Have you?
No, I want one.
You've never had an ugly Christmas sweater?
No, I've been begging for one for years. I have never gotten one yet.
What kind of ugly Christmas sweater would you actually wear?
I probably wouldn't, I don't know. I might wear it.
Really?
Well, who knows? Nah. probably not.
No. Would it have to be black? You asked me about that the other day, looking for ugly Christmas sweaters.
Yeah, I would hang it on the wall in Yule. Because I think they're so cool. And everybody's doing that now. At one time they were just so ugly and so distasteful.
Mm-hmm.
But now that's turned into
A fun thing
a
to do.
fun thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's great. I would like one. You have one?
No.
Do you want one?
No. But I know someone who has a lot of them.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Who is that?
Oh, I'm not divulging any names, but
Oh.
yes, I know someone that has quite a few of them.
Really?
Yes, holiday sweaters, yes.
Mm.
Okay, so ugly Christmas sweater. Anything else that you're going to be doing this year that is going to be specific? I just thought
Well,
about it.
definitely, several of my witch friends,
Mhm.
I've made something magical for them
Oh, nice.
because I felt, we can shop online and all that, and we've done some of that.
Mhm.
But I felt it's so important now for everybody to have their own magic,
Mhm.
and I want to have and lend some of mine so they can use that for their own magic.
Mhm.
So I've done a couple of unusual things. Those Altoid tins?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I've painted them,
Mhm.
and I've done some magic things inside, so
Special
that
things.
it's almost like a little, I don't know,
Like a curio?
like a curio,
Mhm.
but it might have a picture of a goddess or
Oh.
a god,
Okay.
so that you can focus on it
Mhm.
and set it up on an altar or just on a shelf,
Mhm.
and then project that goddess or whatever, to help you.
Mhm.
It's a focus for your magic.
That's going to be
Yeah,
exceptionally
it was so
fun.
much fun to
Yeah.
make, and
Why don't you tell them about Grandma's I want to say pomanders? Is that what they are?
the pomander.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, she used to make.
we make the pomanders every year.
That's right, apples or oranges.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you take an apple or an orange, and you take like something metal, and you poke holes all around it
But you have to
Okay.
do it in rows.
in rows like this.
Okay.
And you put cloves, very large cloves,
Okay.
into it. Then you take orris root powder and cinnamon and nutmeg and stuff in a bowl,
Uh-huh.
and you roll it in the orris root. Orris root is, by the way, from the iris plant,
Mhm.
and it's poison, so you have to be careful.
Oh, okay.
But you roll it in that, and it cures it, so to speak, and it drops. So you also put a wire or a loop at the top,
Mhm.
or you take ribbon and put it around and make a loop at the top.
And use pins.
You nail it down in.
Mhm. Use pins? Penny said you use pins?
What? You can, oh
Yeah.
yeah, you can use like a florist pens that
Yeah.
are nice and long.
Yep.
And then it smells so good, and they last forever.
What do you do with them?
Well, it's bringing it's the same thing, using the herbs for magic.
Mhm.
Either the orange is the sun,
Mhm.
the apple is, of course, the goddess and the earth. And then you can hang them in your closet, they have a scent all forever.
Really?
And you can hang them as a talisman in your house.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know where ours are right now, but we have them from years and years.
And because the way that you roll them in, they stay preserved.
It stays preserved, it gets dries and they get a little smaller. But it's a wonderful thing to do with children, you know, or family, and it's fun to do.
Yeah.
It's something that anyone can do.
Anything else like that I'm trying to drag out of you? Anything interesting that you do?
Well, I don't know how interesting we are. I think we're pretty common when you come to that, except for our magic.
Well,
Yeah.
I never heard of this little thing that you do, so
Yeah, well, yeah, that's an old way of doing things. You know, instead of having, you know, those little trees they put in the car, you can put one of those in the car.
You mean the air fresheners?
Yeah, it's an air freshener, let's put it that way. It's a very fancy one. But usually you put it in your closet, you know, 'cause it helps the whole closet to smell nice. We call our closet Narnia.
You call, yes, Penny and Laurie always have a big closet that's called Narnia.
Yes, we do. And, but I've never had those experiences though that you see in that movie. No Thomas, nothing.
Nothing?
We do have a snow queen.
Really?
Yeah, it's Jeannie. Jeannie's high priestess, and at Yule every year she plays the snow queen, and she has this beautiful white gown and cape and a crystal crown, which is so gorgeous. And she, you know, helps to bring the balance of the sun and the winter. So it's a beautiful thing. So we do honor a snow queen every year.
I think ritual this year is going to be virtual.
Oh yes, it is. And it's going to be very powerful though, because it can reach so many people.
Yeah.
You know, something like 55,000 people watched the last one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So it's getting out there.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm happy about that because the temple is trying to help, you know, use their magic for everybody. And so this Yule, everybody can log on and watch that.
Nice.
All right. I think I'm gonna need a new cup of tea, you know.
You think you're going to need a new cup of tea?
Can we put the pot on?
We can go put the pot on. Yes, we can put the
Thank
pot
you.
on. But before we put the pot on,
And I love English breakfast tea. No, it's my favorite.
I know it is.
I just love it.
I know it is.
And it's funny, you know, my mother, instead of coffee, every morning as a child, we had tea. We never had coffee. I didn't have coffee in the house until I was 50 years old. And I finally got a coffee maker and started having coffee in the morning. But I've reverted back to tea again.
I always find it so interesting when I go over to my friends in the UK, and even the little kids, they're like still in diapers and they're drinking their tea
Oh, yeah.
out of their cup.
Well, they say tea cures everything. Everything. And it's always time for tea. So that's all the way you're brought up as a Brit.
That's right. Okay, so I'm going to go put the pot on, but why don't we say our goodbyes, okay? And
Yes, and thank you, and happy Yule for everyone, and do your projection because you all have the magic, you know.
Yeah.
Might as well use it for yourself right now, because we're learning, again, like I said, that we have to take care of ourselves. You have to heal yourself, feed yourself, do all the things that are necessary, just like you were a pioneer in the beginning of America. We're back to that. We're in the home trying to make things work. So let's use your magic for you
and your family.
and your family, which helps the whole world. And helps everyone.
And don't forget to tune in tomorrow for the Cabot Hermetic Temple Yule ritual.
Okay,
That's
so
right.
so executive producer Penny, who's off screen, said that tomorrow is it at 8 o'clock, Penny?
I'm not sure, hold on, I'll tell you this.
But it's the Cabot Hermetic Temple Yule ritual
And it's on Facebook Live.
at Facebook Live, and I think you will get a lot of good power out of it.
It should be interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. And I love you all, and thank you. I love all the remarks that people make.
We read them. We actually do read them.
Yeah.
I would like to tell you all, I appreciate that 97% of them last week were that we were sideways.
We're learning to be technicians, huh?
Yeah, I don't know if we're learning, but we're trying.
Yeah.
But
It's actually at 4:30.
so at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time
Is the circle.
is the circle for the Cabot Kent Hermetic Temple Facebook page,
You.
Yule Ritual.
I know, it's
Yeah.
gonna be lovely.
It should be very interesting.
Mhm.
And we're gonna wrap up now. We wanted to just give you a little bit of a wrap up taste of as we're ending this year. So we won't be back again until next year.
That's right.
Okay, so we're gonna take a little break, but we are very much looking forward to anyone giving us feedback on things that you'd like us to talk about next year.
Yeah, all the magic things that, as much as we know, there are many subjects that I think people, and we can re-enter some of the old ones like herbalism because it's such a huge
Yeah.
subject. Candle magic is a huge
Yeah,
subject.
we said tarot. We might do a little bit more with
Right.
tarot.
Oh, tarot is
Yeah.
fun,
Yeah,
and we can do that
Yeah.
several times.
we can do that. We can also look at some oracle cards. We were looking at some today, and they were really interesting
Oh,
and
those
funny.
are nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun.
You're not going to nick them from her. She's not going to let you have them.
No, she will never let me touch those.
So if you have suggestions about that, please feel free to comment. But we wanted to wish everybody a happy new year. So since we will not see you until next year,
Well, that's Muggles' New Year. New Year for us is the 31st. It's already happened. But yes, Happy New Year to
she
all.
just called me a muggle. I just want you to know. That's okay.
What can I tell you?
I may be a muggle, but look at you have a beautiful Celtic knot on you.
I do.
Yes, it's gorgeous.
And it was made by a witch in England.
No, not pretty.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Yes.
I know.
So, I think J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter did an awful lot to be able to give us some language around things that are easy to say because we like to say muggle because it's easier and more polite.
It's much more polite. Really.
than some other things. But yes, Samhain is the brand new year for witches, but we are also going to be celebrating New Year's Eve.
So we do, yeah. All the regular
Right.
things.
And we will be back in January. And if you have any suggestions for us of what else we want to cover, let us know because we're working on the schedule now.
And thank you, all of you, for all your good thoughts and all your energy that helps us get to do this. We love being with you. And I want to say good night to you now, and I'll see you soon.
Okay. Do you want to do your witches goodbye?
I will. And while you shut
Well,
us down.
okay, I will. While I shut you down, I'll wait until you're done.
And for witches, this is law. Where we enter in, from there we must withdraw. Good night and blessings.